whispered around campfires and passed down from generation to generation. They spark fear in the hearts and minds of children and adults alike. Their subjects take many shapes, be they bloodthirsty creatures of the night, vengeance-seeking ghouls, or sinister vortices. And each time they are told, the terror spreads. 65 Mulberry Street, a quiet and unassuming sounding address located in the middle of the minuscule Arkansas town of Quitman. It sounds fairly tame and innocuous. That is, until you hear the history of what occurred at this address and the dark deeds that spawned the perpetuating urban legend of the Dog Boy of Arkansas. Quitman is a small town straddling the border of Faulkner and Claiborne counties in Arkansas. Its population hovers around 740 residents. But burned deep in the collective conscience of this small town is the legend of Jerrell Bettis, the man that would inspire the crafting of the urban legend of the Dog Boy. And as chilling or ridiculous as the reports of a half-man, half-dog hybrid may be, this is a case where the true story is more interesting and more terrifying than the paranormal folklore. So, who was Jerrell Bettis? And how do we separate fact from fiction? And reality from legend? The story reportedly goes down like this. Around 1890, a family named Garrett constructed a home that was considered to be one of the finest homes in Quitman at the time. The house would be home to several families over the years, until Floyd and Eileen Bettis would take ownership around 1951. On July 23, 1953, the Bettises would welcome a son that they would name Jerrell Floyd Bettis. From a very early age, Jerrell was reported to be a challenging child. Neighbors would state that Floyd and Eileen were good and loving parents. But Jerrell was a handful, with a malicious and demanding demeanor. He would reportedly seek out attention in inappropriate and tasteless ways. In one instance that occurred during a family reunion taking place in the Quitman City Hall, Jerrell grabbed a chaise lounge and opened it in the center of the room, brazenly popping grapes into his mouth one at a time, behaving as though he saw himself as a Roman emperor. His ineptness in regards to social decorum left him open to ridicule and bullying by his fellow students at Quitman Elementary School. He was teased and even had items stolen from him. But as Jerrell aged, becoming a teenager, this ineptitude and social clumsiness took a more feral turn. His behavior would become even more bizarre and alarming. He would begin collecting stray cats and dogs, leading to the now infamous moniker of Dog Boy. And while his collecting of stray animals would be considered odd at the very least, the true extent of his intentions were far more sinister. He was not just collecting these animals. He was torturing them. He would do repeated and horrific damage to these animals until they were no longer alive. Neighbors would tell a reporter by the name of Lisa Armstrong in 2007, "We could hear them howl." While these acts in themselves are obviously atrocious, no one would have ever dreamed the nightmares that would ensue, as his lust for violence grew. And so did the size of his prey, growing from simple household pets to something much more disturbing. People. And what is even more unnerving about this eventual descent into the abyss of evil was that Dog Boy's human victims weren't just strangers or faceless acquaintances.
And now a word from our sponsors.
VENATOS
is in our hands. It's left to us, guys. And we gotta do something with it.
Anyone who's been a part of the Press Start family for any amount of time knows that I truly appreciate and value the relationship that I have with today's sponsor, VENATOS. They are truly an outstanding company with great quality products that I can truly get behind and put my stamp of approval on. Their customer service is absolutely hands down some of the best on the marketplace. If you reach out to them for any reason, your emails are typically responded to within hours, not days. Hours. And not only do they promise to make it right, they promise to make it better. And as a thank you for your support, they are offering a 10% discount on any orders if you use the code PRESSSTARTMOM at checkout. They do ship internationally, including Canada, and 100% stand by the quality of their products. And so do I. Thank you, VENATOS, for sponsoring this video, and thank you to all of you for checking out VENATOS. Let's get back to the video. It was around this time when Bettis, who was then 6'4" and 300 pounds, began physically and psychologically abusing his own parents. He would routinely beat his 67-year-old father, and in one terrifying instance, he threw his father out of a second-story window. Jerrell's father, despite his age, somehow managed to hang on to the window ledge. Thankfully, a neighbor saw Floyd dangling from the window and called the police, who were able to arrive in time to rescue Floyd before he fell. It was further reported that Jerrell would frequently lock his parents in an upstairs room for days, and sometimes even weeks at a time, only bringing them food when it occurred to him that he probably should. Jerrell's abusive behaviors began unraveling in 1981 with the death of his father. It was reported that Floyd fell from the top of the stairs, breaking his neck. Many locals would believe that this was no accident and was, in fact, the final act of Dogboy's sick pursuits, assuming that he pushed his father down the stairs. Upon the discovery of the body, Arkansas State Police uncovered the shocking truth of what had transpired and freed his mother from the dungeon she had been imprisoned in. Elaine was removed from the home, and the heartbreaking truth of her ordeal was finally revealed. A nurse that was treating her once she was placed in Adult Protective Services would state he was slapping her around and telling her, "I'm going to have you arrested if you tell anyone what I did." Police arrested Jerrell for parental abuse and several drug offenses, including distribution. He was convicted and remanded to the Arkansas Department of Corrections in 1984, where he would remain until his inexplicable death of a drug overdose while in DOC custody on May 18th, 1988. At the age of 34. But the story of Jerrell Dogboy Bettis was just getting started. The house on Mulberry Street remained in the control of Elaine Bettis until her passing in October of 1995. Tony Weaver, who would become the new owner, would report several odd occurrences. Lights turning off and on by themselves, random pennies floating down the staircase, and an overwhelming, eerie feeling. In 2005, Karen Schillings, lead investigator for CASPR, Casper, would conduct investigations at the home on 2 separate occasions. The team of 3 would report to locating several cold spots and unexplainable electromagnetic fields. But most chilling of all, the 3 would state that they all saw a face staring down at them from a second-story window as they organized their gear in the car. There was no one upstairs at the time, Schillings confirmed, as the whole team was together when the incident occurred. During this second visit, Casper decided to bring a medium with them in an attempt to contact Dog Boy. And contact them they did, claiming he said he had cursed them and told them to get out. The honesty and authenticity of these reports notwithstanding, over the last 10 years, Quitman has tried to put the stubborn legend of Dog Boy behind them, most likely desiring to be recognized for something, anything, other than the lurking ghostly presence of a twisted mid-century sociopath. Town government officials are not talking, and the current house owners named Wilburn, according to tax records, have private phone numbers and emails. While the absolutely true story of Jerrell Bettis may forever be lost in rumor, turmoil, and innuendo, the 3,088 square foot, 5-bedroom house on Mulberry Street has no doubt experienced troubled ownership over the last decade because of the Dog Boy legend. In 2012, it was listed for $130,000, and over the next 2 years, it endured several price cuts as it drifted on and off the market. It finally sold to the Wilburns in September of 2014 for $68,000, about half its original asking price. When the house was listed by Century 21 Realtors in 2014, they were succinct in their description. Turn-of-the-century home with all the charm and history that goes with it. Thank you, as always, for joining me tonight as we continue our dark journey across the United States, learning about its urban legends. If you have any campfire tales that you've heard that you think would make a good video for the Urban Legends playlist, let me know in the comments below. Also, please be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. And also thank you for checking out VENATOS. They really are a great company, and I am so appreciative of their continued support and backing of the channel. I appreciate you guys more than you know, and it means everything to have your support in my corner. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.